Hi everyone, it's True Crime Tuesday once again. I need to advise you all that some of the descriptions might be too disturbing for some viewers. Please exercise viewer discretion. This is not for anyone under 18 years of age, in my opinion. Guys, this story looks like it is something out of a maniacal horror movie, but it's real. It was October 17th, 2006. The New Orleans police received a disturbing call from the Omni Royal Orleans Hotel at around 8:30 p.m. A man's body had been discovered on the roof of the parking garage. The police were horrified at the totally mangled body, and they concluded the man had died upon impact. Was it a murder, a suicide, or a tragic accident? Everyone needed answers. The police investigators began by searching for ID of the dead man. In the man's back pocket, they found a note that read in part, "This is not accidental. I had to take my own life to pay for the one I took. If you send a patrol to 826N Rampart, you will find the dismembered corpse of my girlfriend Eddie in the oven, on the stove, and in the fridge as well, along with full documentation on the both of us and a full signed confession from myself, Zach Bowen." What a gruesome bit of information. Police rushed to the small apartment above the Voodoo spiritual temple and were confronted by something that was hair-raising and spine-chilling to the even most seasoned officers. Despite the warm October weather, the little apartment was cold. The air conditioning set on 60. The walls were spray-painted with menacing and haunting messages of sadness, regret, and pain, such as, "I'm a failure." And there were also instructions on the wall to call Zach's ex-wife and tell her he loved her. One message on the wall directed them to the stove. And what did they say? Guys, these gruesome details might be too graphic for some viewers. In a pot on one of the burners was a human head burned beyond recognition. In another part, the police were confronted with human hands and feet. Inside the oven, in a large roasting pan, they discovered badly burned arms and legs. To add to this absolute horror, the sharp investigators noticed that there was seasoning spread on the limbs. What was more, on the counter next to the stove were cut-up potatoes and carrots. Sick to their stomachs, the investigators looked inside the fridge and they found a torso wrapped up in plastic. Horrified, are you? Well, the horrors don't end there. The police found Eddie Hall's journal that contained alarming, frightening, and grisly information that sickened them to their core. Let's turn back a little and try to get to know this young couple a bit better. Known to have been unhappy for some time, the couple had been known to have fights and arguments constantly, although no one they knew ever imagined such a grim and horrendous end for this couple. Known as a tall, good-looking, charming guy, Bowen met Hall when they were both bartenders in the French Quarter. Those who knew Hall remember her as a free spirit, someone who lived by her own rules, and also as a woman with artistic talents who gave dance classes, and she even wrote poetry in her free time. Would you believe that it was Hurricane Katrina that brought them closer as they were riding out the storm together? In the aftermath of Katrina, their chaotic relationship came to be known to all around them, as they often fought, broke up, and they got back together, fought, and broke up, and the cycle was becoming a pattern. However, They both remained in the relationship. Guys, I must tell you also that Bowen was a war hero who had received several awards for his service as a military policeman in Kosovo and in Iraq, including serving as a soldier for some time at Abu Ghraib. Abu Ghraib is a city 20 miles west of Baghdad. Bowen was particularly traumatized when a girl he was fond of and was very good friends with in Iraq was killed. And like so many who served in those wars, he returned home emotionally damaged, broken, bitter, depressed, and suffering from PTSD. Eddie Hall, a heavy drinker who was out of control, was wild, and as I said before, didn't really care about what social rules were all about. She is known to have flashed her breasts at the police more than once, more than twice. You get the drift, guys. A look into Hall's background tells us a childhood horror story of a molested kid. She suffered very low self-esteem and was believed to be bipolar and could not hold on to a relationship for long and was also noted for being in abusive relationships. Both Bowen and Hall were battling with their issues and turned to cocaine on a regular basis. October 4th, 2006. Hall went to their landlord to have Bowen taken off the lease. She believed he had cheated on her and was threatening to kick him out. The landlord refused to take Bowen off the lease, but advised Hall to go back home and make peace with Bowen. That was October 4th, as I said, and the last time anybody saw Eddie Hall alive. Now, back to what the police read in Hall's journal, written by Bowen after killing her. In this shocking 8-page confession letter, he described in graphic detail what happened on that fateful day. 5th October 2006. I killed her at 1 a.m. Thursday, 5th October, he wrote. I very calmly strangled her. It was very quick. After killing her, he had sexually violated her corpse several times before passing out next to it. You can just imagine his mental state at the time, guys. The next morning, he got up and went to work as usual. Can you believe this? Bowen returned home that night and moved Hall's corpse to the bathtub where he dismembered it using a hacksaw and a knife. The mess in the bathroom was unbelievable, so he cleaned the bathroom laboriously and diligently. Now he was faced with the question of what to do with Hall's remains. After a 4-day period of thinking, he had obviously decided to cook her remains. Why did he cook her? It had everybody wondering and looking for answers. Was this a crime connected to cannibalism? However, the autopsy confirmed there were no human remains in Bowen's system. Bowen went about his usual day-to-day business and moved with friends and looked quite perky as usual for the 2 weeks after the murder. No one suspected anything. In fact, in his confession letter, he also states that he wanted to enjoy his last days on earth to the fullest, indulging in good food, good drugs, and good strippers. However, the dark place he was in is evident in the journal when he also says that he burned himself once for each year he had been a failure. The shame and self-loathing he felt was clear. That explained why his body was covered with cigarette burns. Bowen's long confession letter in the dead woman's journal also revealed regret, the extent of sadness, self-hate, and the sense of worthlessness he felt as a human being. I scared myself, not only by the action of calmly strangling the woman I have loved for 1.5 years, but by my entire lack of remorse. I've known forever how horrible a person I am. Ask anyone. His words. The security cameras at the Army Royal Orleans captured Bowen approaching the terrace several times and looking over it as well. Finally, he had a final drink and then threw himself to his death. Shocked as I am, as we all are, at these horrifying incidents, I would like to come at this from a theological angle. It's no coincidence that PTSD sufferers fall into heavy depression and also end up abusers. Suicide is a possibility. I believe that most people who take their own lives are not really trying to kill themselves. They're trying to kill their suffering. Pain is felt and pain brings suffering. Suffering is an element that is an inappropriate appender to pain, a sad storyline triggering unwanted thoughts. The most miserable narrative of Hall and Bowen ended with both being killed. Had they had help and support to get their lives back on track, the whole wretched, painful narrative could have been ended, not their lives. The intention to end the pain is good, but the target is off. The target should be the pain, not a person's life. Spiritual advice is always to battle the pain, kill the pain, not kill the person. Ending someone's life or taking your own life is a terrible sin, according to Buddhism. Murder as well as suicide are serious karmic acts. In Hinduism, suicide is referred to by the Sanskrit word atmata, literally meaning soul murder, which is believed to produce a string of horrid karmic consequences. Getting help medically while also using meditation and other weapons of wisdom put the real target in focus. And the real target, as I said, is the pain. And this approach can literally save lives. In Christianity, suicide is a mortal sin. And the Greek word for sin is hamartia, which means to miss the mark or bad shot. Kill the painful narrative that's generated in the mind of the person and not the person. Put an end to the pain and live on. That's all from me tonight. But before I go, I want to add that if you or anyone you know is depressed and having thoughts of suicide, there are immediately available offline resources that you should call. 131114, Lifeline Australia. Hours, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Languages, English. Website, www.lifeline.org.au. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has some excellent information and resources also. There is more information on how to get help and where to go in the information box. Thank you and see you next time.